Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Check out our podcast below in the description.
This is our Masters video. It is brought to you by mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1. That's where we're getting all the odds that we talk about in this video.
Yes, it is. It's where Guy, Haberman, and myself do our gambling.
All right. Masters, gambling, odds, big week. I think the first thing that anybody looks at, should we start with Tiger?
Yes.
He's plus 120 to be a top 20 finisher. He's the defending champion. He benefits or doesn't by the weather. It's going to be warm because we did a video a while back and we talked about it months ago. Cold weather, November, that is not good for Tiger. But it's also looking like it's going to thunderstorm on Thursday and get wet for the whole weekend. He's plus 3,000 to win the Masters. I don't feel great about it, but playing the Masters many times is an advantage here. We saw it last year. What do you think?
I think his biggest disadvantage is the no crowd. And I think you saw in the PGA Championship when Colin Morikawa won it, would he have been the PGA champ if there was a crowd? I'm not trying to diminish his championship, but I do think the crowd, and we've talked about it. I heard Wright Thompson say it on an interview this week. He said the thing with Tiger, he's like, into a little bit of a lesser extent when Phil was really good, there was just a roar in the crowd. It's like if you're at Alabama LSU and at one of the home, if you're at the at Tiger Stadium and they get a big play, you wouldn't even be able to hear yourself. Or Eugene or the 12s, that doesn't exist. And the Masters is pro Tiger, and that just disappears. So I think that element is going to hurt him because it benefits all these random guys that have never won. I'm even talking like a Rory. Yeah. If Tiger is playing Rory on a Sunday to win the Masters, and Rory's one of the most popular players the last 20 years, it is 100% pro Tiger Woods, right?
No doubt.
It's his home field.
I also think a guy that would get a lot of love this week is Justin Thomas, because he has not won the Masters, and he has said also that having no crowds has hurt him. He likes it. Specifically, Tiger, when I was at the Tour Championship 2 years ago, from any spot on the course, in Atlanta, you could hear that Tiger Woods had just done something. And that affects the other players. They hear it. And I think the other part of it, right, is just Tiger, there's a line. Do you feed off of the crowd or does it create nerves and intimidate you? And we know what side of the line Tiger's on. And we know that the Tiger roar is the loudest. So if the crowd intimidates you, having Tiger play well is a major disadvantage for everybody else. So
you said the top 20 is what?
Sorry?
What'd you say is Tiger Woods top 20 is in this tournament?
Tiger Woods top 20 is plus 120.
I will be shell shocked. Honestly, I hate betting against him. I'll be a little surprised if he makes the cut.
Top 50 golfers this year. It's not based on how close to the leader you are. So like last year, it was a 10 within the lead. 63 or 64 guys made the cut. That's not the case this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for him. He's had a terrible season this year. Now, he does know this course. Him and Phil, wouldn't you say, better than anyone? I mean, both those guys are just – they have a combined, 8 Masters? I mean, it's just – I don't envision either making the cut. I think it would be an upset if one of those two guys in the mix, Phil technically has played better than Tiger this year because he's won some of these old people tournaments, the senior tour.
On the Olds tour?
But I don't envision Tiger Woods playing well.
All right, Bryson plus 600. He's the favorite by a mile.
Well, Guy, I got him. I put $100 on him at plus 800. He's gotten so much juice because as people that listen to us that are like football people, as guys get injured, the line changes, right? In golf, I hear a lot of golf bettors say they really listen to press conferences, how a guy feels. They wait to hear some buzz coming out. There has been buzz last week and yesterday of him taking incredible lines that have never been taken at this course. He says he told the Golf Channel he's viewing this course as a par 67. All the par 5s on this course he views as a par 4. So in his mind, if he gets, if he pars those holes and he just holds serve, he's going to be okay. And if he shoots a couple over, he shoots 69, which would be 2 over in his mind, even though in reality it's several under. He's in pretty good shape. I think that after he played this practice round with Tiger on Monday, the buzz on him of just guys are hitting 6-5 iron. He's hitting pitching wedge. That if his driver is straight, relative, like it was at the U.S. Open, I think it's fair to say he's the heavy favorite. It's pretty nuts in a golf tournament guy to be a 6-1 favorite, let alone a major. That's insane. That's borderline, not quite. Peak Tiger was like 2-1, but 6-1 for a guy who's never played well here, who doesn't putt here, and I don't think it's that crazy. I don't know if I felt pretty good at 8-1. Just because I wanted to put $100, so if he wins it, I said, of course he won it. He's hitting it way farther than everyone else. Though, I kind of think, like, is it really going to be this easy?
Well, and here's the other thing, is there's not a lot of rough, so even if he doesn't drive it straight, he's probably okay, too, right?
Tiger and Phil, historically, not the most accurate guys, have dominated on this course.
Well, because the par 5s are the easiest holes on this course. So that's the one disadvantage. The disadvantage for him is that he's playing them like par 4s. You know, other people are going to be playing him at par as well. He was -8 on the par 5s last year, and he was really good on the par 3s. The par 4s, he was 7 over. So if the par 5s are not going to be overly difficult, I really like him too.
Do you think he's going to win this tournament?
Yeah, if I had to pick somebody to win, I would pick him. I will be surprised if he's not in the mix on Sunday. I just think he's playing so well. I think he's so confident. Now, I think the one challenge is it's a very difficult course for first-timers. First-timers don't win here. He's not a first-timer, but he is playing it in a way that he hasn't played it before, right? So that is a challenge.
Wouldn't you say that when people talk about what he did in 17, 16, he played this once as an amateur when he won the U.S. Amateur. I saw him say in his press conference, he's like, still to this day, even after winning the U.S. Open, it's the best moment of my life. And, being an amateur, coming to this thing. Because when he won the U.S. Open,
who won the green jacket the year he won? Who was he sitting with in the cabin?
That's a good question. It was 14. It might have been Adam Scott, or it might have been 15 because I think he won the U.S. Open in 14. But I do struggle to just envision it's really this easy. He's just going to run away with it. Because if he does, it's one of the crazier moments in the history of golf. Like this guy, I guess my point is like people talk about his history putting really shitty and not playing well here. It's like a different human. It'd be like, this Josh Allen. How's he doing this? He couldn't complete anything in Wyoming. Josh Allen ain't that guy anymore. Like we have a new player here. And this Bryson DeChambeau, the difference is like Bryson was really good. Won the U.S. Amateur, was winning golf tournaments when he was skinny. Now he's fat. He's just dramatically better. It's like it's just.
But the one thing is
one of the crazier things we've seen in sports.
The putting does matter here, right?
But he's a great putter now.
Yeah,
he's a really good putter.
Right, but you don't get to use your green book here. That's where the experience of having been there matters.
That's the knock on him, scientist.
Yeah, but I'm still. I'm more confident in him than I am in anybody else. But again, he's playing this course differently than he's played it before. That would be.
Let's just circle the top guys. You got, obviously, he's the heavy favorite. But then I think we got like a group of 4 or 5 guys. Rahm, JT, Rory, DJ, Xander, who I think is going to be a very sexy pick.
Give me a Xander top 5 finish, by the way.
Brooks Koepka.
Plus 300.
I do think Brooks Koepka, you saw last week, he played really well in Houston. Kind of got his swag back. He looks healthy. He was right in the mix, guy. Tiger said, I saw this thing on Twitter, and Tiger was like, really, once I took the control over Finau and Molinari, the only guy I thought could beat me was Koepka.
Right.
And then when I saw he parred 18, I knew I just had to bogey it, and I was going to win the tournament. I think we forget, like, Koepka, he plays well at the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship. He almost won this tournament last year. And DJ, who had probably the best season in recent memory this year, got his swag back last week. I kind of like Koepka and DJ to, like, have a chance definitely to top 5, but of the favorites, I like DJ and Koepka more probably than Rory and Rahm and JT. JT's never finished top 10 here, guy.
Plus 1,800 on Koepka feels pretty comfortable.
Well,
right?
If he was healthy, if Koepka was healthy and just had a solid Koepka season, wouldn't he be like 10-1?
It just feels like value. Yeah. Now, the thing with JT, I saw Jason Sobel wrote, like, the second shot is always the key at the Masters. Like, the last 5 years, the winner has been top 3 in strokes gained on the approach shot. And
he's the best iron player in the world right now.
The PGA in that stat last year. But I'm with you. He hasn't been playing great. Last year is 2020 because this is the 2021 season. Morikawa was second, but like I said, first I think maybe like Fuzzy Zeller or somebody I read was the last person to win the Masters the first time they played at Augusta.
Yeah, like 1977.
So, but you know who was sixth in 2020 and who finished top 5 last year, the Masters? Your least favorite person to bet on in all of golf.
Can't wait.
Webb Simpson. Oh.
Yeah, I refuse. To me, of those guys.
But I was just going to say, so Webb is plus 260 to be a top 10 finisher. Like, I like that.
Yeah, well, I liked him in the U.S. Open. He was like 3-1, and he kind of screwed me. So maybe I'm holding him to too high of a standard. I look at my group that I like in this of the 30-1 guys, the Webbs, the Bubbas, the Finaus, the Morikawas. I'm throwing Mark. I'm not betting on the first-time players. Morikawa, Wolf, Abraham Answer, like all the guys that are really good, but they've never played here before.
Scotty Scheffler played this event before?
Nope. Another guy who's really good, who I think come April, if any of that group makes the cut and gets 4 rounds here, those guys are going to be way better off the next time because they're all elite, right? The Answers, the Schefflers, the Morikawas, the Wolves. I think all those guys are going to win a ton of tournaments and probably all eventually get majors over the years. I wouldn't touch any of those guys. To me, Bubba Watson has a history of playing well at multiple, when he plays well at a tournament, he consistently plays well there. He's won this tournament twice. He has been playing really well this year. He's 30-1 right now, and I think I got him at 28-1, but I think with Bryson going up, maybe he went down a little bit. And Tony Finau is a guy that everyone acts like, hey, he's only won 1 tournament in his life. Well, JT, for example, is 12-1. JT, beside the PGA Championship, when it comes to the Masters and it comes to the other majors, he doesn't finish in the top 10, guy. Tony Finau, in the last 2 years, finished in the top 5 in every major. And remember, who was the guy in the group with Eldrick when he won it? The first guy to shake his hand was Tony Finau. He was right there. He finished second last year.
I feel like
no fans has to benefit him, right? Don't you like him for a top 10?
My guess is there's going to be a lot of people that ride Finau because he just feels close. He feels close in a way that Xander doesn't. Xander, is going to be there, but it wouldn't shock you if he's putting on the green jacket just because he's always in the top 3. It feels like, but I feel like Finau is bound to break through and then win 2 or 3, not Masters, but just majors.
Well, here's what we know. When you just go, the guy's bound to win a major. I think everyone would say that for Xander and Tony Finau. You'd say it for both guys. Well, Tony's odds are 3 times as good as these other guys. I think he looks at JT and Xander, for example, and go, you guys have won way more tournaments than me. But I'm right behind you. I'm right there. I just screw up 1 hole or whatever. I think he directly benefits from no fans. Him. To me, he's like the Morikawa of the older guys that could win this tournament. Because once he wins it, I think he's going to be right there in the mix. Brooks Koepka, for example, to me, he's unfazed. His confidence, he can win with fans, without fans. If he's on, him and DJ can just fucking win. To me, Finau probably needs it perfectly set the first time, and then I think maybe the floodgates open, but I don't know, man. I think he's pretty good value there.
This golfer has finished in the top 11 6 of the last 7 Masters, and this might give it away, is top 5 the last 36 rounds in strokes gained putting.
Lee Westwood,
Ricky Fowler. I don't like it, but if he's ever going to have that breakthrough, it would be at this event.
For example, okay, that's not a bad long shot. He's 66-1 to win the tournament.
Yeah.
Another guy, he's gonna win a major, you think, eventually in his life. He's kind of like would you say the American version of Sergio? Ton of hype. Then it felt like he never lived up to the hype, but he's beloved, in his country.
Right.
He's one of the more popular golfers, even though his resume doesn't nearly stack up next to one of these guys. And like you said, he loves this course. He's been pretty shitty this year, though, guy. That'd be my thing.
I know. That's why. But we're talking about plus. Who else are you getting at plus 6,600?
Well, I think a long shot who's not quite that long of a shot, but who's had a lot of course history here, who just a couple years ago was arguably the best player in the world when you called the Tour Championship. Tiger won the
Yeah.
tournament, but this guy won the cash. Justin Rose. And I took on my DraftKings team on that Harding Park. And remember, he didn't even have his A game, but he was like
No.
right there in the mix. Don't you think just if you want a long shot,
do.
would you feel better about Ricky Fowler at 66-1 or Justin Rose at 50-1?
Justin Rose. But I would also feel better about Ricky than some of the other guys at 66, like Paul Casey. I'd feel better than Matthew Fitzpatrick at 60, right? Fowler 66.
Like Kokrak.
Kokrak's 70.
He's never played here before. That's to me why I couldn't mess with him. Even though they always say like he's deep, he plays a draw, like he's made for this tournament. I like Kokrak more in April than I do now. I think it's really difficult when you've never played. Just reading quotes from these guys, they're like the hard part about Augusta is a lot of PGA tournaments, especially the hard ones, like 10-footers are really hard because it gets slopey. At Augusta, putting like 4-footers are hard, 5-footers are hard. It's just that's where you go Tiger and some of these guys that have played here a lot. It's why the Finaus, the DJs, the Koepkas, like these guys have played here a shitload and they've played well here. I would throw every good player that you like who's a first-time entrant out the window. That's where Ricky Fowler should have an advantage over a lot of these guys, right? Just